first question here, things that I did was to calculate the total ratio where I add 62 and 53 up and I get 115. So they wanted you to show that the 744 is raised in summer. Hence I took the total, which is 1380 times summer ratio over the total ratio. So it's 1380 times 62 over 115, and you get the results as 744. Whereby for part 2, okay, so raises 54.1 and write it as a percentage. So 54.1 over 744, then multiply it by 100 and convert the results into percentage. So by converting the answer into 3 significant figures, you will get your final results as 7.27. For part 3, okay, receive 31.5, and for each length he swim, it's actually 75 cents. So 31.5 divided by 0.75, then you will get the results as 42 laps. So for part B, this is the route for sponsored walk in winter. Okay, so things that I did was to first identify B's, the remaining value from there, because it is a straight line and it has a 100 degree over there. So the balance will actually be 70 degree. And since it is a isosceles triangle, hence the remaining results is actually 180 minus 70 divided by 2, which is 55. So to calculate bearing of A from C, things that I did was to draw down a straight line from point C. So the straight line there will form a 180 degree, and the balance, okay, at the corner there is actually 110 minus 55. So the total value of this will actually be 180 plus 55, which is 235 as your final results. As for section 2, okay, follow a similar path. So similar here is a keyword. Hence, we will be using mathematically similar concept. So first thing that I did here was to identify AC distance. So since they given you the total is actually 18.9, hence by minusing it off with AB and BC, you will get your results as 6.9. Okay, how did I know it is actually 6 kilometers? Because it was given by the question at the first line over there. So after we obtained AC distance, then I took AB over AC equals to the 4 kilometers over the base of the isosceles triangle walked by the junior students. So by running the calculation, I get it as 4.6 kilometers. Hence, junior's distance walk will actually be 4 plus 4 plus 4.6. So your total is actually 12.6 kilometers. At section C, the total amount 1,280 raised is actually less than the total amount raised in 2009, which means that your original amount is actually bigger. Hence, original times 92% equals to 1,380. So by shifting the 92% to the back, so you divide it and you get your results as 1,500, which qualify as the setting set by the question, where in 2009 you raises more. Question 4, first thing that I did was to fill up the tree diagram over there. Okay, Monday rains is actually 3 over 5, which means the probability that it didn't rain is 2 over 5. For Tuesday, if it were to rain, okay, the probability of raining on Tuesday is 4 over 7. Hence, when it didn't rain is 3 over 7. But for the next part, if it doesn't rain, and probability of it raining on Tuesday is 5/7, and no rain will be 2/7. So both days that it rains is we take 3/5 times 4/7. Hence the results will actually be 12/35. For section 2 on Monday but not on Tuesday, this one will be 3/5 times 3/7. So it results 9/35. Only one of 2 days. Okay. So I took 9/35, which is the results in section 2, added with first day no rain, Tuesday and rain. So you get the results as 19/35. As for section C, does not rain on Monday and it does not rain on Tuesday. Probability of it does not rain on Wednesday is 1/4. Hence the probability of it raining is 3/4. Okay, it's not possible for you to go through the other route because no information was given. Hence, you're required to know that the question is actually hinting you at least one of the days is actually Wednesday, where Wednesday is raining and Monday, Tuesday is not raining. So the final results is 3/35. In section 3a, the keyword here is inversely. Hence, you will have a formula that goes by P equals to K over M plus 1. By substituting 4 and 8 into the respective position, you will identify your K as 36, and this K here is actually your scale factors. So now you have a new equation that goes by P equals to 36 over M plus 1. So when your M is 11, you'll be able to calculate your final results of P as 3. As for section B number 1, this is actually using the A squared minus B squared formula, where you're required to change the 25 into 5 squared. After you've done that, now you can break down the equation into x plus 5 and x minus 5. For section 2, the numerator part, you're required to run the factorization. Okay, so I listed down 2x times x equals to 2x squared and 5 times 1 equals to 5. I cross multiply them and I get x and 10x. So this x and 10x here, you are required to fulfill the requirement set by the question, which is a positive 11x at the center. So I put plus on both of it, and I have two equations that goes by 2x plus 1 and x plus 5. So x plus 5 is repeating here, I get rid of it, and I get my final results as 2x plus 1 over x minus 5. Section C, solve the inequalities. So first I multiply the 5 into the bracket, and I get 5x minus 20 less than 36 minus 3x. After I run the adjustment, and I get my final results as x less than 7. In question 4a, to calculate the size of angle HFG, I will be using cosine rule because all three sides has been given to you. Okay, so by substituting it into the respective position, you will get a final results as 58.4 degree. In section 2, calculate the area of the triangle FGH. Okay, this one, since it is a irregular triangle and we already obtained a angle information from this first section, you can now use half AB sine C to identify the results. So the AB is actually the value next to the angle that we identified. So I took half times 6 times 14 times sine 58.4. So your final results after correcting to three significant figures will be 35.8. Section B, we'll be using sine rule for this. So I'm comparing sine RPQ over 18 equals to sine RQP over 12. By running the calculation, okay, and adjustment, we will get the results as 36.4. Question 5. Shape A after the translation vector of -3, -2. This one actually means that the A actually shift to the left hand side by 3 steps and shift to the bottom by 2 steps. So we'll get your A image over there. So shape A after the reflection of x equals to -1. So I label it over there as A double image. So section B, part number 1, this will actually be being removed from the syllabus. This is actually called series. So I won't be covering this. However, for part 2, shape A to shape C, this one is actually a clockwise 90-degree rotation from the point 1, -1. Okay, section C is the 2 times 2 matrix. Okay, this was being removed as well. As for part D, this is actually an enlargement from the origin with a scale factor of -1. Section 6, part A, find the length of BC. So this one is actually using Pythagoras theorem, as BC is the hypotenuse. So BC square equals to AC square plus AB square. So BC equals to square root of 14 square plus 19 square, where you get the results as 23.6. For you to calculate the total surface area of the prism, I break it down into the following shape. 1 rectangle, okay, and then 2 square and 2 right angle triangle. So I labeled down their respective information and measurement. Your final results after the calculation will be 2303.6. Find the volume of the prism simply by taking half AC times AB, then multiplied by its width, which is 36. So your answer should be 4,788. For you to calculate CE's length, first you need the information of AE, diagonal of the base. So using Pythagoras theorem, I identified AE's value as 40.7. With AE's information, I can use Pythagoras theorem again to identify CE's results by using the same Pythagoras theorem. So your final results should be 43. As for part E, the angle between line CE and the base, since you already have the AE's value and CA's value, okay, the angle is actually at the CEA. So CA is its opposite and AE is its adjacent. So by using tangent, okay, run the calculation, you'll get your results as 19. Question 7a, pretty straightforward. Simply substitute the -2, -1, 0.6, 2 and 4 into the formula given. Okay, after you've done that, you get your y's results as 1, 4, 11.11, 1 and 0.25. So final results should be as above. Plot down all the points and you graph out your graph as shown. So section C, use your graph to solve the equation 4 over x squared equals to 6. This 4 over x squared is actually your y. Hence, when y equals to 6, your x results will actually be 0.8 and -0.8. In section D, by drawing a suitable tangent, okay, estimate the gradient of the graph where x equals to 1.5. So when x equals to 1.5, you saw me drawing a line over there. So key notes to double check is that the distance between the line and the curve must be the same. Hence, after I drew it down, I have another coordinates that goes by 2.30. So by using the gradient calculation, I get my estimated gradient of the tangent line as -2. In section E, so I compared this equation given 4 over x squared minus x plus 2 equals to 0. So you're required to adjust this formula, okay, and change it back into its original form by shifting the excess information to the other side. So you will have y equals to 4x squared. This is your original line, equals to, I shift the negative x to the other side, I get positive x. I shift the positive to the other side, I get -2. Hence, you will have a new equation as y equals to x minus 2. So I set down random points. Okay, first thing I said was when x equals to 0, your y results will be -2. When your x equals to 2, your y results will be 0. After I've done that, I can now draw out the line, and the intersection point is 2.65 as shown in the graph. Question 8. Okay, to calculate the mean, median, and mode, first thing that I did was to calculate the mean simply by taking the marks multiplied by its frequency. Okay, add everything up, divide by 75. So you get your final result as 14.2. The reason why I divide by 75 because there is 75 of students which I identified through the cumulative frequency I've written over there. Median is actually 50%, so 75 divided by 2 is actually 37.5. So this 37.5 fall under the marks with 14. And the mode here is the highest frequency count. This one will be at marks 13. So from part B, number 1, complete this following table. So I added 2 and 19 up to get frequency of 21. I added 16 and 14 up to get the frequency of 30, and I traced back 40 to 50 is 15. After I write them down, the interval width is actually 20 minus 0, which is 20, 40 minus 20, which is 20, and 50 minus 40, which is 10. So the frequency density here is by taking the frequency divided by its class interval. So to double check, okay, whether there's scale factor involvement or not, I always use the interval that was given there. So which is 9 divided by 10, and we get the results of 0.9. Okay, which this indicates that there's no scale factor. Hence you can proceed with the remaining calculation by taking 21 divided by 20, you will get 1.05. By taking 30 divided by 20, you will get 1.5. And the last part, by taking 15 divided by 10, you will get 1.5 as well. As for section C, the mean times that 3 students spent revising was 3.1. So I took 10 times 2.5 plus 12 times 3 plus n times 4 over the total students, which is 12 plus 10 plus n. By running the calculation, you will get n is actually 8. So the details working has been shown over there. In question 9, okay, so the keyword from the information was at least and at least, which means that x is actually more than equals to 3 and y more than equals to 2. So they have no more than 9 trees, so x plus y less than equals to 9. And for the last part, 6x plus 14y less than equals to 84. And by dividing everything by 2, you'll be able to prove the results of 3x plus 7y less than equals to 42. So as per usual, in the section D, I first draw down the horizontal and vertical line. Okay, and after that, I label a arrow over there. So from these two lines, I already know that it is referring to the big rectangle at the right hand corner. Okay, then the other two lines here, you are required to set down random points to be able to plot it out. Okay, so x plus y equals to 9, I set when x equals to 0, y results will be 9, and when your x result is 9, your y results will be 0. So after I drew down the line, I traced back to its inequality sign, which goes by less than equals to 9, which refer that it is towards the left hand corner. So now we are focusing at the right angle triangle over there. Okay, as for the next line, 3x plus 7y equals to 42. I set when x equals to 0, your y will be 6, and when your x is 14, your y will be 0. So after I drew down the line, okay, since the inequalities is also less than equals to, which means it's referring to the bottom part, now the region will actually be the quadrilateral shown, okay, which I label R over there. I then shade off the unwanted region as shown above. So in section E, calculate the smallest cost to buy a total of 9 trees. So this one we'll be using the coordinates where when your palm tree is actually 7 of them and your apple tree is 2 of them. Okay, so normally for this type of question, you're required to check the line whether it is solid or not. If it's solid, usually you're required to calculate the edges of the shape. It will get you the results wanted. So your final answer will actually be 70. As for the last part, okay, this one is the sequences topic. So since the n terms has been given to you, you are just required to substitute 2, 3, 4 and 5 into the respective n term, and you'll be able to fill up the table in section A. Okay, so section B, calculate the 8 terms of sequence A. It goes by 8 to the power of 3, which is 512. To calculate the 12th term of C, simply by taking 12 plus 1 bracket square, you will get a result as 169. In section C, number 1, where sequence A is equals to 15,625, so n cubed equals to 15,625, so you use a cube root to the side over there, you get a result as 25. For section 2, okay, sequence C is equals to 10,000, so n plus 1 bracket square equals to 10,000. So by putting a square root into it, you'll get your final result as 99. Sequence D here and sequence E is actually slightly tricky, where you are required to use the information available at part A, the table, to double check the results. Sequence D is actually the addition of sequence A and B. Okay, so your result should be n cubed plus 4n. So your fifth term is actually 125 plus 20, which is 145. Whereby for sequence E, this one will be taking sequence C minus B. So you have n plus 1 bracket square minus 4n. So you will take 36 minus 20, your final result should be 16. So this is pretty much it for this paper. Overall, I will rate this paper as relatively easy. So I hope you find this helpful and do share it to your friends that are struggling. I wish you all the best in your upcoming examination. Thank you.